All right, hey class of 514. So here is another tutorial kind of presentation about a GIS exercise that uses Arc Online instead of Arc Pro um, to follow. It's a hypothetical situation where you have a point pollution source and you track that into its watershed, into the larger Huck 8 watershed, and eventually you can follow the path downstream until it reaches the ocean. And so you can do this with any point um, in the continental United States. Um, and that can be from an address, that can be from satellite imagery, or even a known coordinates. So what we do is we start off at Blackman Elementary School, which is I think it's Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And so the situation here is like, let's say we just got a call from an anonymous um, tipster who says, "I saw this guy dumping motor oil down his drain," or whatever. So I first need to find that drain. So I'm starting with a known address, and this is just on Google Maps, OpenStreet, and then overlay this with Landsat data, so satellite imagery. And here's that school up at the top of the screen, this big kind of five-sided elementary school building, and then down to this homeowner. Of course, they have a pool, and down to their street drain, their storm drain. So I zoom in all the way there, put a push pin so that I can pull the GPS coordinates. And then what you can do is on Arc Online, it will find the immediate drainage basin that your point is in. And we talked about doing this with DEMs, how it'll take the 8 pixels on each side of a pixel and do a calculation to find out which one is downhill from each one, which determines the path of the raindrop. And so this whole watershed, this entire small, but this entire watershed drains all to that single point. This is with an integrated uh, delineation tool. And then you take it a step farther. You can mess with some of the attributes of the delineation tool, the watershed tool. And so what I did is, you see this like blue number 2 here, is I changed the distance to half a mile to find all the upstream and larger watersheds that the smaller one falls into. And so here's after that analysis, it's created the larger watershed. And if you look around our core point, you can see how it's overlaid with our smaller watershed. So they both drain to the same area, which is another kind of visual way of verifying the immediate watershed is within the larger watershed as a whole. It gets even bigger, right? So zoom out considerably, and you can see that watershed extends uh, pretty far to the south. We're now in northern Tennessee, so pretty large. This entire area all drains down to the same point. And zoom out a little bit more, um, and now you see how large this whole thing is. About how even point pollution in a tiny source can have much larger impacts on an area as a whole. Um, or, you can see that there's all this water within this collective watershed drains down to that point source of pollution and then spreads it even further downstream. So this is using the trace path tool, once again on Arc Online for our larger watershed as a whole. And you can still see my thumbtack, the point next to that Highway 24, Interstate 24 sign there. And so what it does is it traces once that pollution or raindrop, whatever it is, enters the waterway, this tool traces that waterway um, into as a tributary to the next confluence or larger stream or river. All right, and tracing it, so it traces it all the way to uh, the Mississippi River, actually. Here pretty far north of Memphis, traces down along the Mississippi River and eventually enters the Gulf of Mexico. So this is a pretty powerful tool for hydrologists, or perhaps if you're EPA or DEQ, Department of Environmental Quality, um, to, you see those signs at different storm drains, drains to river, there's a piece of, a little picture of a fish. But this, allows you to actually see, and this could be very useful. Let's say if you had something high toxicity or, following upstream, upstream, upstream to locate where a point source of pollution could possibly be occurring. So that's it. Thanks for your time. Oh, one more slide. You can kick out the metrics after you've done this based on the resolution and calculated, 1,200, nearly 1,300 miles to the Gulf of Mexico from that elementary school storm drain.